Brad, just your thoughts on the win tonight. It seemed like you guys were super connected on both ends of the floor, and your thoughts overall.
I mean, it helps when we shot as well as we did. I thought the other, obviously, they shot great too, especially from three. But yeah, we played with good purpose, good connectivity. I thought everybody that played gave us a good lift, and so that was a positive. We needed to play better. We felt like there was a lot we could build off of in the last 2 quarters of the last game. But as I said beforehand, the defensive intensity and the reliability of all 5 guys on every possession was number one.
Mark Murphy.
Hey, Brad. How much does Rob change things for your guys guarding on the wing when he is doing what he does under the rim?
Well, the one thing you don't want to do is feel like you have an out to not guard. And so, yes, Rob can impact at the rim, but if you make him rotate off his guy, teams are good enough to, jump pass and dump it off to the big and the dunker. They're good enough to jump pass, get their eyes to the rim, and hit corners. That's how we got sprayed a few times off individual drives. So it's nice to have guys that can block shots down there, but it's even better when you keep guys in front and they take really tough shots. And so that's the bottom line. Like, obviously he can do that, but that also, guys get blown by. That puts him out of position. So you can't lean on it.
John Corrales.
Brad, with Rob getting his first start and getting some minutes here with the starting group, I know things are in flux, but is that something you see happening more often moving forward?
I'm not sure what your question was, John.
Just, getting him more starts, or because you talked about him coming off of the bench before, but
yeah, I'm assuming that he was comfortable with how everything went tonight. We certainly were. He did a good job. I don't think it's as big a surprise. The scoring opportunities may not be there as much in the starting lineup just because you're playing against the best players every night, right? But I thought he did a great job impacting the game with his rebounding and his passing. And he certainly is a threat down there at the rim that people have to account for. So it's a little bit different than how we've played with bigs in the past where, you have some skill and be able to shoot the ball and those type of things. But, he does draw attention when he's on the baseline or when he's rolling to the rim, which opens up things for our other shooters. But, yeah, I see that possibility, the probability, and then at least in the near term. I don't see Tristan won't be back anytime in the next couple of games. And yeah.
So you mentioned like he wouldn't score as much, which obviously makes sense. But which would be your priority, having his scoring off of the bench or how he impacts the game, opening up space for the starters?
Well, he's got to create a great synergy with the starters as far as helping them get open and getting them the right looks and those type of things. I thought he did a good job tonight. Listen, he's clearly our best big that's here, and it's not a knock on Mo or Luke. He's just ahead of both those guys, and so we'll cross all those other bridges when we get there.
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Brad. One, Tatum had a little issue with his knee. Did you find out what happened there? And it seemed like he started the game inside. He was attacking. He was more aggressive. And then that opened up outside as opposed to, I think the other night he was shooting a lot of threes early and then try to get inside. How important is that for him to get going early inside to maybe open up the outside?
I just think the most important thing for him, Gary, is to have an aggressive mindset. So whether that, and I do think that sometimes that means that he needs to be ready to catch and shoot instead of catch, floor it, and then, find a shot that may be more difficult than the one he passed up. And, when he turns the corner and attacks quickly and then plays off of the catch and shoot like that, he just scores an easier 34. And then his harder shots later, the rim just looks bigger. And so I think that's where you see the benefit of having that attack mentality early.
Keith Smith.
Brad, how important is it in this kind of stretch of 5 and 7 nights to kind of steal some in-game rest by building a big lead, not having to push guys? Does that take on an added importance this year with the Quebec schedule?
Well, that was one of our issues. I thought in January and February we played so many games where it went right down to the wire, and maybe there were a few that we could have pushed it out, and a few where we didn't. There were a few where we came back from big leagues too, right? And so, I do think any minute you can steal for those high-minute guys is great, but we're not really in a position to worry about how many games are on our schedule or anything else. We are in a position where we have to play great, and whoever's available to do that, that's our focus right now. And if we get to steal some minutes, fine.
Final question for Coach John Corrales.
Brad, when you have these big shooting games, these super hot shooting nights, is there any concern moving forward that guys fall in love with the three, and when you generate them a certain way and they make them, but then you fall in love with them and you stop generating them the right way?
You have to generate them the right way. I mean, the way you phrased that was good. I mean, I think that's the bottom line. You generate them the right way. I talked about this earlier. We want layups. We want to get to the rim, but Milwaukee's one of the best at closing down the paint. And certainly you saw some bad rim reads hurt us in the first half. It got them going in transition because we tried to shoot it over people and through people instead of kicking it out. The three is, an opportunity against this team if you can get them to overhelp on the drive. And so that was what was there. We need to make sure that we're continuing to generate them the right way, as you said. But we've had an emphasis on our shot profile as a team. We need to shoot better shots than we did in the first 30 games. We've been better in the last 15, and it has to continue.
All right, we'll wrap it up right there. Thanks, Coach.